All right, let's jump right in. We're about to look at a document from 2009. Now, in internet years, that's practically the Stone Age. It's called the Handbook of Emerging Technologies for Learning. And what's absolutely wild is how it basically predicted the future. It's like they drew a map of the world we're all living in today more than a decade ago.
And this image, wow, it just nails the core problem they saw coming. Look at the left, the way it was. You had one source, maybe a textbook, and one interpreter, a teacher. And that gave you nice, coherent information. But now, look at the right, the way it is. Information is everywhere. Books, blogs, social media, you name it. That neat, tidy pipeline, it's completely gone.
So that's the big idea here. It wasn't that long ago that knowledge came to us in neat little packages. But the internet and all of us creating content totally blew that up. And it created this massive new challenge for literally anyone trying to learn anything.
What's really fascinating here is who's responsible now. Back then, you had experts doing the heavy lifting, filtering and packaging information for us. But now, in this world of what the handbook calls information fragmentation and abundance, guess what? That job is now on us. You, me, every single one of us has to somehow piece all these broken bits of information together and make it make sense.
So, because everything's so fragmented, the handbook says there are two brand new jobs for any modern learner. The first is wayfinding through networks. Think of it like being an explorer, navigating this endless ocean of blogs and forums and experts just to find what you need. And the second job, sense-making. That's the actual work of taking all those scattered pieces you found and building a coherent picture out of them.
When the world changes this much, the old rulebooks just don't work anymore. The old ideas about learning couldn't explain how knowledge could live outside of someone's brain. So we needed a completely new framework.
And that theory is called Connectivism. Now, this is so important. It completely redefines what learning is. It's not about stuffing facts into your brain anymore. No. Learning is now the skill of building and navigating networks. The knowledge doesn't have to be in your head. It just has to be a connection away.
This diagram lays it out perfectly. Connectivism is the bridge. It connects the neural networks inside our own brains with, 1, conceptual networks, so the way experts in a field think, and 2, the external networks we're part of every day, like social media or our coworkers. Real learning is happening across all three of these levels at the same time.
And this right here is the huge paradigm shift. For centuries, we thought of learning as this quiet, solo activity. Just you and a book. But in this new model, learning is social. It's a team sport. The network is the learning. The people and resources you're connected to are just as important as what you personally know, maybe even more so.
Okay, so if the whole game has changed, what are the new rules? What skills do you actually need to survive, let alone thrive, when you're drinking from an information fire hose every single day? Well, the handbook laid out a whole new toolkit.
And here are some of the big ones. Anchoring. That's just the ability to stay focused when your phone is buzzing and you have 20 tabs open. Filtering. Figuring out what's actually important versus what's just noise. Evaluation. Being able to tell if a source is legit or just junk. And connecting. Proactively building a network of people and sources that keep you smart and up to date.
Which, of course, brings us to this monster of a question. We know these skills are absolutely crucial for modern life, right? But are we actually teaching them? Is our education system preparing kids for this world, or is it still stuck in the old model of just memorizing facts?
Well, it only makes sense, right? If the learner's job is totally different, then the role of the teacher has to be completely reinvented too. The old way just doesn't work anymore.
Look at the traditional roles. The teacher talks, the learner listens. The teacher organizes, the learner responds. It's all very top-down, a one-way street. But in a network, that whole structure just dissolves.
So this is where it gets really cool. The handbook suggested these amazing new roles for educators. Not a lecturer, but a network administrator who actually helps students build their own unique learning networks. Or a concierge who uses their experience to point you to those amazing hidden gem resources. And my personal favorite, the curator, someone who is an expert learner themselves and who guides others by sharing their own journey of discovery. All right, everything we've talked about has been leading up to this. This is the biggest, most profound shift in the entire document. It's about the fundamental purpose of education itself.
So let's ask that question. In a world where you can Google any fact in 2 seconds, where knowledge is everywhere, what is the point of learning anymore? What are we even trying to do?
And boom, here's the answer. The goal is shifting from knowing to being. It's not about acquiring a static thing, a product, like a degree. The goal now is to develop the capacity to learn and adapt and participate in a world that never stops changing. We're moving from learning as a noun to learning as a verb.
Let's just break that down one more time. The old way, knowing, saw learning as a destination. You get there, you get the diploma, you're done. The new way, being, sees learning as a process that never ends. The goal isn't to have a bunch of knowledge in your head, it's to be the kind of person who can find, create, and use knowledge no matter what life throws at you.
And we're going to end on this perfect quote from the handbook, because it just says it all. Being educated today isn't about collecting a bunch of dots of information. It's about being able to draw the lines between them. It's about seeing the patterns, understanding the network, and realizing that, in the end, it's all about connected.